hormones. I've got a big smile on my face because a lot of people talk about hormones controlling their emotions. And wouldn't it be great if you could control your own emotions or be in control of your hormonal system, your endocrine system? And what if you could choose to be happy? What if you could choose to be healthy? What if you could choose to have strong muscles and bones? What if you could choose to have a body that was always in great shape? And that's a lot to do with the hormonal system, with the endocrine system. I love it. It's my favourite. Actually, I'm not sure because I've been studying neuroscience for a really long time. So the central nervous system is pretty exciting. So is the skeletal and muscular system and the cardiovascular and respiratory system. The immune system is pretty exciting, and then digestive system, that's amazing. But the interesting thing is that all of those are driven by, controlled by the hormonal system. And wouldn't it be great if we had a better understanding of it? So before I say anything though, because when you study this thing, it blows my mind how the human body works. But as a woman, particularly as an older woman, we hear a lot about hormones. So as a teenager, it's about puberty and growing into an adult. And then if you're a woman and you have periods and pregnancy, that's obviously hormones are talked about a lot. When you're my age and you've been through menopause, hormones are a hotly discussed topic. And what's really interesting though is how much misconception there is, or misinformation there is about the hormonal system. And of course it's very complicated and there's lots of different parts to it, and it's a very exciting thing to have a look at. But if I had to wrap up the hormonal system, and I'm not an endocrinologist by any stretch of the imagination, I'm just fascinated by it. So I've been doing a lot of study on what happens inside the body with hormones. But the whole thing, if you just put it into one sentence, hormones are designed to make sure that your body comes back to what it's supposed to be, back to, scientists call it homeostasis. So obviously our lives are affected by all sorts of things. It could be temperature, it could be food, stress, exercise, sex, relationships. There are so many things that affect what happens physiologically to our body and of course psychologically. But what hormones are designed to do, and isn't this exciting, is to make sure that whatever stresses happen, whether they're good or bad stresses, because obviously if your body changes, there's been an effect on your body. So rather than call it stress, we'll just say something happens and your body changes. Hormones are designed to make sure that everything comes back to what it's supposed to be. So that's a very simple explanation. The other really interesting thing though is we often talk about hormones getting screwed up, our thyroid or our metabolism or our sex drive or our emotions or our, again, physiologically as a woman we talk about periods and pregnancy and menopause. And it seems that we allow our brain to conceive that hormones are going to control all of those and almost in a negative way. The reverse of that, and again I'll make it as simple as possible because I like things to be very simple, and to me this is just the ultimate. If you're in great shape, if you're fit, if you're healthy, is it possible that every system in your body will be fit and healthy too? The reverse, if you're not fit, if you're weak, if you're not healthy, if you're not looking after yourself, if you don't eat well, if you don't sleep well, if you don't put great food into your body, if you're dehydrated, how does your body deal with that? Now, the hormonal system will deal with it. It'll do everything it possibly can. If you're not sleeping well, if you're not eating well, if you're dehydrated, if you're getting too much sugar or too much fat or it doesn't matter what it is that you're doing to your body that's putting it out of whack, your hormonal system will try and bring it back into homeostasis, back to being its fit, strong, healthy self. But if we've wrecked our body, we've also wrecked our hormonal system, which means that doesn't work properly. So just a simple example, if you don't look after your body, you're now not looking after your, for example, your hydration. there's part of the hormonal system, part of the endocrine system is designed to stop you from losing fluid. Because if you're in a stress situation where you could be dehydrated or you don't have access to water, your body will actually hold on to water. The reverse of that, if you need to sweat because it's hot, or if you need to tinkle, that hormones will do that for you as well. I think that's so exciting. But if that system's broken, then you either will tinkle too much, or you won't tinkle enough, or it'll be yellow, or will only be a little bit. And that's and I use one of the most horrible diseases, which is type 2 diabetes. Now, really interestingly, the hormonal system has a lot to do with that, because if your body's got too much food in it, if it's got particularly too much sugar, and the glucose molecule is a very big molecule. So if the insulin in your body's not working, a hormone called insulin, which is responsible for taking those big glucose molecules out of your bloodstream and putting them into the cell where it belongs, if that system's broken, then those big sugar molecules stay inside your bloodstream, stay inside the hoses of your body, and because those molecules are so big, they bang up against the edges or the walls of your arteries, of your hoses, and cause damage. That's caused by too much sugar because your insulin's not working. Now, a lot of people say, well, that's type 2 diabetes. It's completely curable, because if you're fit and strong, your body takes, your insulin system's working, so the sugar's taken out of the bloodstream, put into the cells where it belongs, and you don't have the damage from type 2 diabetes. Interestingly, that disease, one of the biggest killers in the world, is completely preventable and curable by being fit and strong. Type 1 diabetes, however, there is no cure for. The endocrinologist would like to study type 2 diabetes, type 1 diabetes, to find a cure for it. And I'm sure that there are people who are studying, let's find a cure. But because they're an endocrinologist, and because type 2 diabetes is one of the biggest killers in the world, the top endocrinologists in the world are being bombarded by the governments and the GPs. You've got to help us with this type 2 diabetes. But interestingly, type 2 diabetes is completely controllable by you and I. If we eat healthy, and if we are fit, and if we're strong, then our body will use up the sugar, all the food that we put into our body for that matter, but particularly the glucose molecules that cause the damage that cause type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular disease. Wouldn't it be nice if the endocrinologists who chose that area of expertise because they're excited about the hormonal system, wouldn't it be nice if they could focus on a cure for type 1 diabetes rather than have to, and I'm going to say it quite aggressively, waste time on type 2 diabetes, which is completely preventable and completely curable if you're fit and strong. So how about this? Even if you have no interest in hormones, whether it's testosterone or human growth hormone or insulin, or the body's just full of these amazing connectors. The hormones are the things that really make our body work and control everything inside our body. But even if you have no interest in that, isn't it nice to know that you don't have to worry about your hormonal system or your central nervous system or your skeletal or muscular system or your respiratory or cardiovascular system or your digestive system or immune system? You don't have to worry about them, because if you're fit and strong, the body will look after itself. If you look after your body, it will look after you. If you don't look after your body, if you're not fit, if you're weak, if you're not healthy because you put crappy food into your body, or you take drugs or smoke, or you stress, or you don't sleep well, and I'm very hesitant about even talking about any of those things, because they're adult decisions. We all get to decide what we eat, how much sleep we get, how stressed we are, what we put into our body, and how we treat our body. But here's my really big challenge now. We've got kids that have got type 2 diabetes, and I'm going to use that particular disease. It used to be called age-onset diabetes because only old fat people got it. As you got older and fatter and less active, you got type 2 diabetes. Well, now we've got kids with type 2 diabetes because they're inactive and they're eating too much. Now, your body, and I'll just put that into a little bit of perspective. If you eat too much, your hormonal system will work really hard to get rid of the sugar out of your bloodstream. So if your insulin's working and your hormonal system's working and you eat too much sugar, so let's say you go to the movies and eat a big bag of lollies, your body will do everything it possibly can to burn up that sugar and to get it out of your bloodstream and put it into the cells where it belongs. And that's what insulin will do. But if you keep doing that to your body and keep doing that to your body and keep doing that to your body and keep doing that to your body, of course, it's going to break down because it just can't cope anymore. It just gets overloaded with too much. And they're all decisions. They're adult decisions that kids don't get to make because they don't know. I think as adults, wouldn't it be great if we really learnt, and maybe you don't have to be as excited as me about the endocrine system, but wouldn't it be nice if we just got into our heads as adults that if we're fit and if we're strong, we are more likely to stay healthy, which means our hormonal system is more likely to be healthy. And I'll use now being a woman. I was told many times throughout my life, first of all, that being a teenager would be awful because periods are the wrong time of the month. I was told that if I ever had a baby, it was going to be awful because you put on weight and you get emotional and it's hard to get rid of the weight and it's just this horrible experience. And then Rowie, when you go through menopause, it's going to be awful and terrible and hot flashes and can't sleep and put on weight. I didn't have a baby. I certainly never had any challenges with the whole have a period, never, because I don't believe, and I'll share this quite passionately. I think if you tell yourself it's going to be terrible, it probably will be. So I just refused to tell myself that I was going to be sick or fat or tired or headaches or bloated or whatever it is. But I've also got a really, really good understanding that when you're fit and strong, that it's easier to deal with everything, anything and everything. And I've been fit and strong all of my life. So periods were never a challenge. Every single woman I've ever trained that's been fit and strong has had a much easier pregnancy. They either didn't put any weight on or just obviously the weight of the baby, that's all. And or if they did put weight on, they got rid of it really quickly after the baby because they were really fit. And certainly, and I always share this as a bit of a joke about menopause, I said to K-Man at one stage, I think I've been through menopause. No, body healthy, fit, strong, happy every day, no challenges, just no more period. Yay! That's being in control of your hormonal system. And I think everybody deserves that, to be in control of your own body and your own life and your own emotions. That is your hormonal system. And if you're fit and if you're strong, you will be in control of your body. If you look after your body will look after you. The other interesting one that's a connection between the central nervous system and the endocrine system, the hormonal system, is when we get stressed. And obviously, if your body's under stress, the hormonal system tries to bring it back to homeostasis, back to let's not be stressed. But if the body's under threat, then your body will produce everything you need to overcome the threat, overcome the stress. So that's where things like epinephrine, adrenaline, cortisol, the stress hormones, all part of the catecholamine system. Great words, aren't they? I just love them. All of those hormones are designed to get the hell out of the way of the stress, kill the stress, fight the stress, run away from the stress, and then bring your body back to homeostasis. But it's not just back to normal. What happens after you overcome a threat is the endocrine system works together with the central nervous system, with the brain. The cortisol, epinephrine, adrenaline disperses, and now the brain fills up with neurotransmitters that make us feel good because we've overcome a threat. So now we feel rewarded, dopamine, we feel satisfied, serotonin, we've produced endorphins, which are painkillers, awesome, to be able to get away from the threat. And because we've produced that, we now feel happy about that. So there's 3 major happy drugs. And then the one that makes it all work beautifully is brain-derived neurotropic factor, which is a fertilizer for, yes, your central nervous system, for your brain. And everything inside your brain works better because it's been fertilized by brain-derived neurotropic factor. But interestingly, your body pumps that at the highest rate, and you get the most of it in your brain after you've sprinted and after you've fought the threat, after you've kicked, after you've punched, after you've fighted or flighted. And I know there's no such words, but I just get excited about them. And that's the two parts of the body working then with the other parts of the skeletal system, the muscular system, cardiovascular system, respiratory system, all work together to overcome stress, overcome a threat, bring your body back to normal, and not only that, but make you feel really good. That's that beautiful human body saying, whatever you do to me, I can look after you, but please look after me. And I'm going to ask it again. Is it possible that if we look after our body will look after us? So if you want to be in control of your body, if you want to have a body that works, if you want to have a body that when anything is not right inside your body, your hormonal system will do everything possible to make sure that you've got enough fluid, you've got enough calcium, you've got enough protein, that nursing mums have enough milk, that men have enough testosterone to grow bigger muscles, that women have a hormonal system that can overcome any challenge that might come up with periods or pregnancy or menopause. That's what the hormonal system's designed to do. And it will do it. But it will only do it if you look after your body. You have to be fit and you have to be strong. So often I hear people have a bit of a whinge, moan and complain. My hormones, they're making me fat. My hormones, they make me angry. My hormones, I don't like them. Ultimately, your hormones are the thing inside your body that brings you back to being an ultimate human being. But the ultimate human being isn't weak, it isn't unhealthy, it isn't unfit, it isn't stressed, it does get enough sleep, it does get enough fluid, it does get great food. That's how the human body works effectively, and that's something that we have absolute control over. Can we eat healthy? Yes. Can we be hydrated? Yes. Can we get enough sleep? Yes. Can we choose to have a life that's not going to stop us from sleeping because we overcome stress, overcome threat? Because if we are under stress or threat, we fight or we sprint. And that's interesting because your body will do that for you. If you're under threat, your body will get the hell out of there or turn and fight. But we can put our own body under threat. We can push really hard to 100% effort, and that's the thing about getting fit and strong. It's not about exercise. It's about pushing your cardiovascular system or respiratory system to 100% effort so that it produces those neurotransmitters that make you feel good. You don't produce, the hormonal system won't produce epinephrine, adrenaline, and cortisol. The catecholamine system doesn't work unless it's under threat. And that doesn't come from going for a walk. It comes from high intense activity. So sprinting, punching, kicking, anything that's putting your bones, your muscles, your heart and lungs under full pressure, 100% effort, then your hormonal system has to kick in because then it thinks it's under threat. So then you go through that whole beautiful process of epinephrine, adrenaline, cortisol, get away from the threat, overcome the threat, and now fill your brain up with dopamine, reward drug, serotonin, satisfaction drug, endorphins, pain-killing, happy drugs, oxytocin, another great connection chemical hormone that if you exercise with other people or if after you exercise you then go and invest time with other people, that whole oxytocin hormone system kicks in and you feel even better about hanging out with beautiful people. And of course, brain-derived neurotropic factor is the fertilizer for all of that. So whether you are a child or a female or a man or whatever you have chosen to be, we live in a world now where apparently you can get to choose. Here's what we all get to choose. We get to choose to be fit and strong, or we get to choose to be unfit and weak. And if you have children, or if you are a leader, or if you're a coach or a boss, and people are relying on you to be a healthy, fit, strong human being who's in control of every part of your life, including your hormonal system, would it be good to set that example, to live that example, rather than whinge, moan and complain about my hormones are making me fat? How about my hormones are working overtime, they're fit, healthy and strong to make sure that I have a fit, strong, healthy body because I look after me and now my body, or I look after my body and now my body's looking after me. Wouldn't that be awesome? I feel good, na 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 na. I knew that I would now, na 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 na. So good, yeah, hormones under control, woo!